Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido and today we're coming here from Veilstone City where the Breakers are currently on a 6-game losing streak. They won their round 1 matchup in dominating fashion, but they have proceeded to be dominated by every side they've come face to face with since then, and today they are going up against the reigning champions, the Medali Aethers, who are currently sitting in 4th place and they want that champion shine once again. So with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win this matchup. Will it be the fighting types? Will it be the flying types? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
And starting out for the Aethers, it is going to be their Terrastal draftee, Espathra, who has that psychic typing that can capitalize, as well as this newfound flying typing, alongside Tropius, who are going up against Hitmonlee and Hariyama, who are starting out for the Veilstone Breakers. But it is Espathra with the speed control, immediately going for the bulldoze, knowing that it will not hit Tropius, who is immune thanks to being a flying type. It doesn't do much damage to the 2 fighting types, but it does lower both of their speed, ensuring that the Medali Aethers do maintain full speed control, as Tropius is going with the guard swap onto Hitmonlee. There has been no stat changes though to their defense and special defense. This allows for an expanding force from Hitmonlee onto Tropius, getting some chip damage there, but Hariyama is going to follow it up with the cross poison, putting Tropius into knockout range with that super effective move. Espathra responds by setting up the safeguard on the side of the Medali Aethers. They do not want any status conditions, but it is Hitmonlee going for the parabolic charge, not actually doing that much damage to Tropius. Does a little bit to its own teammate as well, but Hitmonlee trying to get itself back to full strength as it gets some super effective damage onto Espathra in the process. But the Veilstone Breakers have never defeated the Medali Aethers, and as we said, they are on a 6-game losing streak, as Tropius goes for the wild charge, getting some great damage onto Hitmonlee, still hanging on even after that recoil damage. But Hariyama could capitalize here, going with the charge beam, instead going for Espathra, getting some good damage with that super effective move, but Espathra is going to respond with the Forest's Curse, putting that grass typing onto Hitmonlee, making it even more vulnerable to flying type moves, as Tropius goes with the expanding force onto Hariyama. Super effective, massive damage there, but Hitmonlee does respond by going with the seismic toss, getting the first one on the board for the Veilstone Breakers, giving them the early leader over the Aethers, and it is Hariyama following it up with the beat up. This multi-hit move will connect 6 times because it connects for every team member. A critical play there on that third one. It gets a 4th, and it only needs 5 connections to complete the huge play, a monumental team effort to take down those 2 members of the Medali Aethers. Both Tropius and Espathra have been eliminated again after those 5 connections to put the Veilstone Breakers in front. But it is now Kilowattrel coming out for the Medali Aethers, and it is joined by Hawlucha. They are taking this very seriously, as it is Kilowattrel going for the workup, immediately going with that stat boost here to boost that physical attack as well as that 105 special attack. Hawlucha with the follow-up, going with the grass pledge, not very effective on the grass type Hitmonlee though. This opens the door for Hitmonlee to respond with the Hone Claws. It is going to boost its own physical attack, that's base 120, as well as boosting that accuracy. Hariyama with the follow-up, going for the Dire Claw, going straight on the offensive, gets in some great damage onto Hawlucha. It avoids the status condition. The poison powder is not going to work on the grass type Hitmonlee from Kilowattrel, but Hawlucha going with the Flame Wheel mistakenly goes for Hariyama, puts it into knockout range. The Calm Mind though from Hitmonlee, it is maintaining its composure as it boosts those special stats, including that 110 base special defense, but Hariyama is going to go with the Mac Punch, very swiftly going in for that not very effective connection onto Hawlucha. Kilowattrel looking to capitalize, is going with the Victory Dance, feeling very confident in the Medali Aethers' ability to bring this one back, boosting that physical attack and that physical defense as well as that speed, but it's already got speed control, as Hawlucha follows it up with the Steel Roller, but unfortunately that is going to fail, and this opens the door for Hitmonlee to try and capitalize by going with the Fairy Wind, putting Hawlucha into knockout range. It is hanging on, and it is going to chow down on that Enigma Berry after taking that super effective damage to restore that health, but Hariyama is going to go for the Thunder Punch, but that is not going to work thanks to that Volt Absorb ability of Kilowattrel, as the Aethers no longer protected by that safeguard. The Hydro Cannon from Hawlucha takes Hariyama out of this match. The Aethers have finally got one on the board, and Kilowattrel with the follow-up goes for the Syrup Bomb on to Hitmonlee. It is not very effective though, but it is going to get covered in that sticky candy syrup that will slow it down. But first it's going for the hammer arm, and we thought it was the kicking fiend, but even those arms are just as powerful because lowering its own speed, it takes Hawlucha out of this matchup. And there's that speed being lowered of Hitmonlee, as now it is going to be Toucannon coming out for the Medali Aethers. For the Breakers, they send out Poliwrath, and Kilowattrel is going to go with the entrainment. This is a huge mistake because it is going to give the Volt Absorb ability to Poliwrath, so now it is immune to electric type moves instead of weak to them, and it does go for the Topsy-Turvy. It is going to invert the stat changes of all of what Kilowattrel has had so far, but Toucannon does go for the lick, going on the offensive onto Poliwrath here, and it is able to leave it with that paralysis, so it may be unable to move as it is also going to be slowed down. But Hitmonlee is going to go for the power split, focusing in onto Toucannon. They're sharing the power between the two as that speed continues to be lower thanks to that sticky candy syrup. But Kilowattrel going with the Confide onto Poliwrath. They're lowering its special attack, but Toucannon as well with the follow-up going for the discharge, but this is not going to work on its teammate, fortunately being Kilowattrel. But that Volt Absorb is also going to restore the health of Poliwrath, and it's not very effective on the grass type Hitmonlee. This allows Poliwrath to go with the Imprison. Poliwrath last round tried to go for something big, and it is gone for as big as it gets here in the PokeType League VGC. The Hone Claws from Hitmonlee once again boosting that physical attack as well as that accuracy, but the Aethers are going to be left to struggle. They've only got 3 Pokemon remaining. The Breakers have 5 Pokemon remaining. They need to focus in onto Poliwrath, but that did practically nothing from Kilowattrel, who does take that recoil damage, and Toucannon left to struggle as well. It is successful in taking down Hitmonlee, but it will get its own recoil damage. The Breakers currently sitting in 18th place. They have lost their last 6 games. They're trying to take down the Aethers in a big way. The Grass Pledge from Poliwrath though does practically nothing to Toucannon, as it is going to be Conkeldurr coming out for the Breakers, as the Aethers are left struggling here. They're in 4th place. They want to stay in an Elite Four position, but the Breakers, who made it into the Elite Four last round, are trying to keep them out of it and get back into victory road themselves. Those struggles continuing from the Aethers allows Conkeldurr to go with the Pin Missile, this multi-hit move onto Kilowattrel, chipping away. It wants to get all 5. It has put Kilowattrel into knockout range with 3 connections, but that does lead to Kilowattrel chowing down on that Staff Berry that is going to boost that special defense after taking those 3 connections. However, Poliwrath is going to go for the Frost Breath. This will be super effective onto Toucannon, and it takes it out of this match. After that critical play, the Aethers have only got 2 Pokemon remaining. The Breakers are in full control. Swanna has entered this matchup for the Medali Aethers, but it too is going to be left to struggle. It is going for Conkeldurr. The writing is on the wall. This is what we've been waiting to see from the Breakers. That struggle continuing from the Aethers. Kilowattrel taking that recoil damage is eliminated from this matchup, and Swanna is all alone. The spit up from Conkeldurr is going to fail. It has not gone for a stockpile. However, Poliwrath feeling confident going with the Air Slash here, getting that chip damage onto Swanna there, who is just left to struggle. As we can see this happening now, the Aethers are going to be taken down by the Breakers in a big way. But now it is a matter of, will the Breakers be able to bounce back again? They are in 18th place. This is a huge win from them. A Darkest Lariat from Conkeldurr puts Swanna into knockout range. The Psychic Terrain being set up by Poliwrath, it is just going to let that struggle continue from Swanna, as the battlefield is going to get just a little bit weird, and weird indeed, because the Breakers have finally defeated the Medali Aethers. That recoil damage taking Swanna out of this match. This is fantastic for the Aethers, who are at risk of that wooden crown position. But again, they have finally, for the first time ever, taken down the Aethers and finally ended their 6-game losing streak to move themselves up into 17th place. And next round, they're going up against the Castelia Pinchers. Whereas for now, the Aethers are still sitting in 4th place. And next round, they will be needing to reflect on this because they have the bye. But after that, they will be going up against the Lava Ridge Flare. But until then, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field. And if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome, and I'll see you when you see me.